All right, so I'm catching up with Arlene Blencowe, who is making her way back to Australia in the midst of everything going on.
Sure.
How are you doing? I seem to always catch you in the middle of travel.
Yeah. Today, I'm actually on the way back home to Australia,
Hmm.
from Albuquerque, and yeah, today was a very all over the place type of day with cancelled flights and changed bookings, and yeah, so I went from Albuquerque to LA to San Francisco, and now I'm just waiting for my flight home from San Francisco to Sydney. So, but yeah, there was a whole lot of stuffing around with each one of those flights. So I just want to get
So,
home.
so were you? I know you were putting stuff up on social. You were training out in New Mexico with Holly Holm,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how'd that go?
It was awesome. I was there a few years ago. Actually, it was probably about 4 years ago now. So it's taken me a few years to get back over there. But yeah, no, it was awesome. I've got a good relationship with Mike and Holly, and I had some awesome sessions together.
Now, was this just like a sharpening of the blades, or was something gonna come up before everything got put on hold? As
Um, yeah, well, the I am the number one contender with Bellator at the moment, so the
hmm
fight with Cris Cyborg is inevitable. So yeah, it was just a matter of me heading over to Jackson's, and because Coach Winks actually cornered my last two fights. So yeah, he's been wanting me to get over there and do some training with him, and obviously I'm in Holly's weight division as well. Sort of sitting between featherweight, bantamweight, and featherweight, so an awesome training partner for her. Um, yeah, so everything sort of just worked out well for me to head over there and just get some training in, and all of it just set up what's going to be in store for my next fight camp when I do get matched for my next fight, and yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I was gonna ask you actually was if you watched Cyborg's debut. Obviously, she won when she faced someone that you fought before.
Yeah.
I would imagine you were watching closely. What was your take on the
I
fight?
I feel like every featherweight, well, I think more so, not just every featherweight, but yeah, everyone should have been watching that fight. So yeah, I
Hmm.
was watching it very closely. Yeah, no, great fight. I props to both ladies. I thought Julia. I mean, obviously, I fought her twice. I know that she's a super strong opponent, and I did have interviews, you know, um, with people that were asking me which way I think the fight would go. I know Julia is very strong wrestling, but obviously Cyborg's got amazing striking, and yeah, um, she took her into what was it, third round, and yeah, it was an awesome fight between the two of them. So yeah, obviously now that just puts me sort of in the number one contender, and I'm hoping I get that shot. Obviously, it's been mentioned by Mr. Coker, and yeah, like I think I've earned my stripes and that, but we'll just wait and see. Obviously, I think there's a lot more serious things happening on in the world at the moment, so yeah, we'll fix all of that first, and then worry about the fights later.
Yeah, I mean, I really do hope that with the pause on sports right now, it doesn't affect your positioning or anything. There's so much going on right now. You're in the airport trying to get home and stuff. I just hope that there isn't once we get going again. There's nothing that keeps you from losing your number one spot. But he keeps talking about doing a women's Grand Prix, and he doesn't really say what weight class. I mean, would you be opposed to being involved in if they did your weight class? Because it seems like there's a lot of other newer faces in your weight class coming into the promotion too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big believer, and I've said this in interviews before, in everything happening for a reason.
Hmm.
I truly believe that I've earned my stripes for a title shot next. With 3 wins in a row. But
Mm.
if that's what the promotion does, that's what the promotion does. I won't kick and scream and carry on in that. I do think though that there's probably more room for a 125 Grand Prix to
Yeah.
happen before the featherweight. Um, yeah, there's obviously a lot more girls sort of signed to that division. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, there's also the option of even possibly starting a bantamweight division within featherweight. I know there's talks. Alima did say that she'd be interested in coming up to bantamweight, and yeah, obviously I want this world title at featherweight, but I wouldn't be opposed to dropping down to bantamweight as too, and maybe being a champ. So yeah, there's there's a lot of different opportunities, a few different ideas that I've got that I'll sort of want to like put forward to the promotion. But yeah, I guess for me at the moment, my eyes are on the fight with Cyborg.
Yeah.
You know, and that title shot. So it's sort of, you know, one step at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about your boxing in the past, and do you think you have better do you think you have a better chance as far as like the way you compare with your striking against her? Do you think you're better than her in that area as it comes to MMA?
Yeah, well, if you're sort of breaking down MMA into different categories, I think that my striking would be a bit more technical, but by all means, she's improved. I feel like her striking, she's always been a dominant striker, but I feel like technically she's improved as a striker. And combine that with obviously her aggression, she's very, very dangerous. Like I had a little giggle the other day. I put a post up about you know wanting the Cyborg. I can't remember what it was, but it was something to do with the Cyborg fight. And a fan commented saying, you know, it's a dangerous fight for you striking wise. And I sort of like commented back saying, oh, I'll be, you know, going for the takedown and looking to submit her for sure. And then the person sort of agreed. And I sort of just had a laugh because, yeah, I mean, if it comes down to it, I think she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, whereas, yeah, you know, that area, you know, she would definitely be more skilled than me. But, yeah, yeah, if it comes down to, I think, obviously, I'll be, like, betting on my striking to beat her rather than a submission win. But you never know, I guess.
Yeah. You were leaving New Mexico. You obviously were training with someone that faced her before with Holly Holm.
Yeah.
Was there any information or any tips that she had for you looking ahead at a fight like that?
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously, you know, Jackson Wings are awesome at breaking down fights, and you know, Holly was the first fighter to take her into the 5 rounds, and you know, she had a really good fight with her. She tested Cyborg at times, and there was moments in the fights. Yeah, so there were things that she, you know, sort of just mentioned about the fight, but just even for me, having someone of Holly's caliber to sort of train with, because she's an extremely strong, strong at her wrestling, and then obviously striking is very good too. So she was yeah, awesome to train with, and just yeah, just for my own, not so much for her giving me tips on sort of the Cyborg fight, but just having like her as a training partner, and obviously also Coach Wink's expertise and knowledge with everything. So just the way they break down fights and little things that I'll be able to take home now, work with my coaches at home before I head back over there.
Talking about going home with everything going on, I mean, there's no, you know, obviously no one knows how long we have to be on pause as far as sports coming back as a whole. So what do you do with everything going on? And I don't know how Australia is handling it. You know, they have us locked in our homes here on the East Coast. What do you, how do you propose to handle that as far as, you know, having limited training options and staying home if you have to?
Well, I automatically, once I go home, I have to go into a 14-day quarantine. And my partner's got a job where he can't actually be exposed to me because so he's actually got to go and stay at his mum's house for 2 weeks. So yeah, I'll be at home by myself. But I'm lucky I've got a gym at home, and you know, I'm always, I know how to stay motivated, and I'm actually going to spend the next sort of 14 days sharing a lot of my stories and doing a lot of home workouts and sharing them. I know Bellator sent me a message to try and you know, upload some videos and that as well, just to, you know, keep people, because obviously it's not even just me. It's like, yeah, there's people all over the world that are locked in their houses at the moment. So just trying to keep people motivated and staying active rather than just sitting on the lounge and binge eating and watching Netflix.
Yeah, I mean it's like you said. I mean everybody's quick to do figure out solo training, solo drills, and stuff like that. I would imagine you can still go running and stuff on your own, can't you? Or
at the moment, no, because I'm pretty sure I have to be in the house like once after the 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm going to make sure that I sort of abide by the rules and that, because you know, coming back into the country, I'd hate to think that I sort of, you know, was to bring something back and possibly endanger other people. So yeah, 2 weeks, and this is you know, another thing that I put on my social media, like in perspective to people in the past and things that you know, it's 2 weeks in your own house. Roof over your head. Like I won't have my family with me, but I mean, God, it's 2 weeks in my own house. I have a gym in the garage. I've even thought, you know what, I'll set a 20-minute timer and do laps around my yard. And yeah, it is. I've got a skipping rope. There's heaps of stuff. I've got you know, equipment that I can keep busy, and it's 2 weeks out of my life, you know, to make sure that, the world can survive and get past this. It's not that hard.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely a rough time, but I mean, like you said, the being home shouldn't be looked at upon as something negative, especially for you're trying to rush to get back home with all this happening. I mean, it's the best place to be right now. So I hope you don't have much trouble getting back there.
Yeah, well, no, at this stage, I'm not like at this stage the flight's going ahead. So like I said, I had cancelled flights, domestic flights here in Australia, trying to get here to San Francisco. So I had to fly from Albuquerque to LA, and then there was just a lot of confusion throughout today. So for me, I just want to get home. The uncertainty of not knowing how long this will go for. Otherwise, like I probably could have just stayed here and kept training. But then if this drags on for a few months, then it's a hard call. So I thought I'll just go home, and that way I'm once I'm out of the quarantine for 2 weeks, I'm back with my family, and then we can all work out what's happening from there.
Yeah, that's definitely you don't want to get stuck anywhere either. I mean, obviously it's good to be at a training camp, but obviously, I mean, with the state we're in, it's probably best to be home. So I'm glad you're getting there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was definitely looked after at Jackson's. Mike was really good, and he made sure that I was looked after and had everything I needed. So it definitely made being so far away from home and sort of semi in isolation there a lot better. And obviously, I was doing outdoor sessions with Holly, and I was still getting some training in, and the trip wasn't a waste at all. Still have learned what I needed to sort of learn to take home for this stage of the camp. So it wasn't a complete loss.
No, not at all. I mean, so Bellator only had to cancel that one event that I was actually supposed to cover 241, and then there's nothing going on until May 9th. So hopefully, I mean, God willing, with the time passing, they can still stick to their schedule and fit you in there somehow. I don't know if you had your wish, when would you like to get back to fighting?
Well, I wasn't ready for sort of anything sooner than sort of June, July anyway, because obviously I know that this Cyborg fight will have been and will be the biggest fight of my career. The fact that I'm sort of knocking off a few of my career goals in one fight. I've been chasing that Bellator world title since dropping it back in 2017 against Julia. So there's one goal. I mean, Cris Cyborg's always been the fight that I've wanted. And the fact that sort of I didn't even have to sort of cross promotions to make that fight happen. I got to stay loyal to Bellator and stay on my path, and then her path's going to cross mine. So that was a big win for me. And obviously the Cyborg fight, for me to fight her, is going to be huge within Australia. Everyone's going to be behind me. It's going to be a fight that'll build my name and obviously my legacy for when I finish fighting. But there's a lot of career sort of goals that are all going to be wrapped up in this one fight. So I want to make sure that I go in there and give it absolutely everything. And I think it's a fight camp that definitely takes a lot more than 6 to 8 weeks. Not so much for the fitness side of things, but just working on the small technical things, but even just working on the mental things and just but making sure that I'm 100% ready. So
are you someone that watches? Yeah, hopefully. But are you someone that watches, like, do you watch a lot of tape on your opponents, or do you let your coaches handle that? Like, how do you study up for someone like her?
I let my coaches, like, obviously leading up, so for example, the Leslie fight, we knew that she was going to be an opponent that I would have. Like, as soon as she got signed, I knew that would happen. So I did watch videos of her, but once that fight ended up getting matched, I don't watch tape during fight camp. I leave that up to my coaches. Then they break it down. And in the past, like, obviously when I first started fighting, I used to watch videos, and sometimes you sort of psych yourself out a little bit and this and that. Like, you always think your opponent's a little bit bigger than they are because it's just watching it over. Generally, fight week, I'll when I'm sort of laying in the hotel room, whatever, I'll watch video footage. But I did watch. It was a couple of weeks ago now. Holly's, before I flew over and trained, I watched like the Holly and Cyborg fight. But it's not something that I sit there and research. I mean, I think I've watched a lot of Cyborg over the years from the fights. I think the first time I watched her fight was a week. I think her fight it was the first fight back after her suspension on
Hmm.
Invicta. Yeah, I was a week out of my first MMA fight, so I hadn't had a fight yet.
Oh
And
wow.
I just remember seeing her fight on Invicta, and yeah, I was just like, wow, this chick's like, yeah, pretty wild. She actually went in there and obviously made a statement, because I think was it a 9-month suspension or something? I don't know the details, but yeah,
Yeah, I'd have to look it up too, but yeah, no,
yeah.
that's
So she
I
went in
mean,
there and was pretty dominant, and yeah, I was like, oh, this chick's pretty cool. And then when I saw that she was in my weight division, she's obviously always been that girl that's been at the top. And
yeah.
you know, I've been inside the top 10, like ranked inside the top 10, top 5. I've even made it up to number 3 at one stage. I've dropped down now, obviously, but with the more the UFC girls get signed, my ranking goes down here with Bellator. But you know, Cyborg's always been at the top of the list, so you know, I've always wanted to fight her, so the opportunity's here now.
Well, I mean, it's something, and maybe it'll stick with you. When I spoke with Douglas Lima that week in New York before everything went south with the pandemic, and he said something that you probably agree with. He said the wins matter more than anything else, and you've been winning, so I would think that keeps you in your number one contender spot. So hopefully, with everything going on, it ends sooner rather than later, and you get your we hear an announcement soon enough.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, definitely. I'm excited for that. I know it'll happen, but at the moment, yeah, there are bigger things in the world to worry about. So
Mhm.
I'll just keep sitting tight, and then yeah, it'll happen. I'm hoping it's this year, but hopefully this all passes sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. So, Arlene, thank you so much again for giving me some time to talk. I know we kind of did this impromptu in the middle of your traveling, so I hope I was able to kill some time for you,
Yeah, no, yeah.
and get home safe. Seriously, be safe and stay healthy.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Bye.